Let's just jump right into today's explainer. We are doing a deep dive book summary review of a fascinating piece of research by Liz Wiseman called Multipliers. And honestly, this could completely change the way you manage, work, and collaborate. We're going to explore how certain leaders just effortlessly draw out the absolute best work from their teams, while others, despite having the best intentions, just drain the energy right out of the room. If you've ever wondered why a team thrives under one person but totally flounders under another, well, you are in the exact right place.
Okay, let's dive into this playbook. First, we'll look at the two types of leaders. Then, we'll get into the multiplier mindset, followed by the specific disciplines of spot, set, and stage. After that, we'll hit stop and shift, and finally wrap up with how to multiply your team's potential.
Starting with Section 1, Two Types of Leaders. We're looking at the stark contrast in workplace dynamics. So to really grasp this, we've got to look at Wiseman's actual research. She traveled the world studying 150 professionals to understand this universal workplace tension. She literally did comprehensive 360-degree interviews with teams. And what she found was this massive, stark divide. On one side, you have what she calls the Diminisher. Now, this is a leader who acts like a total black hole. They just suck the energy right out of everyone. Why? Well, because Diminishers fundamentally believe they're the smartest people in the room, period. In practice, this means they're constantly correcting their team's work, barking commands, and telling people exactly what to do. And here's the kicker. Even if they're genuinely trying to be helpful, the net result is they just make the people around them feel stupid.
But on the flip side, contrast that with the multiplier. A multiplier acts more like a talent scout. Instead of just handing out answers, they issue challenges. They ask the really hard questions to get your gears turning. A multiplier's goal isn't to prove how smart they are. It's to give you the space you need to do your absolute best work. Working under a multiplier doesn't make you feel small. It actually makes everyone around them feel and genuinely act way smarter.
And this brilliantly illustrates the point. Consider the story of Derek. He was this highly talented Navy sailor, literally graduated at the top of his electronics class. But in his first role, he got stuck under a classic Diminisher. His boss would stand inches away during these supercritical missile exercises, just barking commands, zero trust whatsoever. Derek performed so terribly that he was actually removed from his post. Crazy, right? But wait. 3 months later, a new commander comes in, and this guy is a multiplier. He immediately gives Derek a second chance, puts him right back on the controls, and simply tells him, "I'm counting on you." Derek didn't just succeed this time, he absolutely crushed it. He started setting new missile exercise records and eventually rocketed all the way up to lieutenant commander. Same exact guy, totally different leader, totally different outcome. It proves that people will either flourish or flounder based entirely on who's leading them.
Which really brings us to the core thesis of this entire book summary review. Diminishers tell people exactly what to do, while multipliers give people the space to think and execute. At the end of the day, the fundamental difference between these two management styles is literally just how much space a leader allows for their team's intelligence to shine.
Moving on to Section 2, the multiplier mindset. This is step 1 to transforming your leadership.
So, you're probably wondering, how do we actually become that kind of leader? The one who brought out the absolute best in Derek? Wiseman's framework boils it down to 2 highly actionable steps. Step 1 is a daily mental shift. You've got to start every single day with the multiplier mindset. And step 2 is the practical side, beginning each week executing what she calls the 5 multiplier disciplines. It takes both, right? The internal belief combined with the external execution.
Let's zoom in on that daily mindset shift for a second. Wiseman highly recommends taking this exact mindset and setting it as a recurring morning email to yourself. Seriously, listen to this. My team is packed with talent. If I give them ownership and room to think, they'll learn to make great decisions without me. Just imagine opening your inbox to that every single morning. When you read it, use it as a mental trigger to recall specific moments of your team's brilliance. Think about, say, that junior coder who just totally surprised you with an incredible UI design that blew your original vision out of the water. Reminding yourself of their competence every single day, that's what keeps you from slipping back into those toxic diminisher habits.
All right, Section 3, spot, set, and stage. These are the first 3 disciplines of the 5 S's. Let's move to and see how this builds. Now that our mindset is dialed in, here is the execution phase. The 5 S's of a multiplier are spot, set, stage, stop, and shift. We're going to break down the mechanics of those first 3 right now.
So discipline number 1 is spot, as in spotting people's genius. Remember, a multiplier is essentially a talent scout. They are constantly scanning their team for that effortless brilliance, even if it has absolutely nothing to do with someone's official job description. Like maybe you've got a customer support rep who just naturally knows how to talk down furious customers and turn them into loyal fans. A multiplier spots that, celebrates it publicly, and gives them the toughest cases. But what if that brilliance isn't super obvious right away? Well, ask them. Use this exact question: if you could design your ideal role here, what would it look like? Honestly, that question is a total gold mine for uncovering hidden talents. Moving on to discipline number 2, setting bigger challenges. The English poet William Blake actually hit the nail on the head here when he said, "Great things are done when men and mountains meet." Multipliers act a lot like pole vaulting coaches. They continually raise the bar to these really uncomfortable heights, but, and this is key, they do it with this unwavering belief that their team can actually clear it. When you set a harder problem in front of your team, you literally draw the brilliance right out of them. To put that into perspective, just look at this absolutely staggering number: 72%. This comes from Matt McCauley, a retail president who is running a floundering business with over 9,000 employees. He needed a turnaround, so he asked every single team leader for their mission impossible. Basically, a crazy aspiration that would demand 100% of their capabilities. Everyone went after these impossible missions knowing they had the total backing of their CEO. And the result? The very next year, the company's stock price shot up by 72%. No joke. That is the literal power of setting a massive mountain in front of your team. Okay, the third discipline is staging debates. When you're dealing with really high-stakes choices, you need to become the debate maker, not just the sole decision maker. Pull your sharpest thinkers into a room and ask them, "Hey, if you were in my chair, what would you do and why?" And then turn up the heat. Highlight where they disagree, ask them what specific evidence would actually change their minds. Once you've extracted all that wisdom through rigorous debate, then you make the call. And if you have to go against someone's recommendation, look them right in the eye and ask, can we disagree and commit to this path? Because they were actually involved in shaping the decision, they'll embrace it and run with it. That brings us to section 4, stop and shift. These are the final 2 disciplines. What's super fascinating about these last 2 disciplines is they require you, the leader, to actually step out of the way. So the crucial point here is discipline number 4, stop. You have to stop solving people's problems. Literally cut back your airtime in meetings and train your team to think for themselves. The best way to do this? Master this one simple, incredibly powerful phrase. I don't know, what do you think? Whenever a team member brings you a problem, just boomerang it right back to them. I promise you, when you talk less, your team talks more, and they start coming up with their own brilliant solutions. And the 5th and final discipline is shift, shifting ownership right back to the team. Wiseman sums this up perfectly. Offer help, but have an exit plan. It's kind of like a sports coach calling a timeout. You pull the team in, you give them some crucial direction, right? But then you immediately hand the reins back and send them onto the field. You have to make it crystal clear. Look, I'm happy to help you think this through, but you are still the lead on this project. Actually, scratch that. It's more than just saying it. You have to live it. Because every single time you take control and refuse to give it back, you're demoralizing your people and stunting their growth. Finally, section 5, multiply your team's potential. We're looking at the ultimate impact of leadership. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it summarizes the grand takeaway from our whole book summary review today. Ultimately, this all comes down to scale. Diminishers rely solely on their own intelligence to succeed. But multipliers, they rely on the intelligence of their entire team. Think about it. A diminisher's output is always going to be capped by the physical limits of their single brain. But a multiplier scales infinitely because they're actively leveraging the collective brain power, the creativity, and the drive of dozens, maybe even hundreds of people around them.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a provocative question to chew on today. Are you multiplying or diminishing your team's potential right now? Are you jumping in, fixing things that aren't yours to fix? Or are you stepping back, setting the stage, asking those really hard questions, and letting your talent shine? It is a daily choice. Make it a great one. Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer, and I will catch you in the next one.